breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The 49ers did it. I wasn't expecting them to actually do it, but the 49ers have officially waived kicker Jake Moody. Jake Moody is now no longer on the San Francisco 49ers. According to Tom Pelissero, the 49ers drafted Jake Moody in the 3rd round. Oh my goodness. They did it. I was starting to doubt that the 49ers would make this move, but clearly, I don't think any of us are surprised by the reasoning. I think we all understood that this should have been the outcome after this situation that just played out, not only in this last game against Seattle, but just how his career has gone up until this point. The San Francisco 49ers pulled the trigger. Jake Moody, he is on the outside looking in. We're going to react to all of this right now. But let me know how you're feeling in the chat. Smash that like button, retweet, or share this video if you're down with this news. Let me know what you think, and we're going to react right on the other side.
Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.
All right, guys. Honestly, I didn't know if the 49ers are going to pull it off. I kind of halfway assumed that they were going to try to kind of do some like roster shuffling where they were going to, I don't know, sign a kicker to the practice squad, then deactivate Jake Moody, but they must have said that's just too much. Like if we're going to that length or that distance, it's time. It's time to move on. So the San Francisco 49ers have waived Jake Moody. Oh my goodness. Again, I think this is the right move. I think that, you know, with Jake Moody coming out, missing his first kick against Seattle Seahawks, it just had to be done. It had to be done. And so the San Francisco 49ers actually pull the trigger, and they do it. Kind of in shock a little bit, kind of surprised, not because I believe it was technically unexpected. It just felt like, man, the 49ers were going to give him the longest leash possible, and dang, wow, they did it. The 49ers have waived Jake Moody. Comments are going crazy right now. I mean, this has honestly turned into a bit of a distraction. You look all over social media, you look anything 49ers related. It could be about Marquise Siegel balling, could be about D. Winters having a heck of a game, could be about Brock Purdy's winning throw to Jake Tonges. The comments are about Jake Moody being on the roster. The fan base had enough, and it was crystal clear that the fan base had enough. I personally had enough. I really gave, personally from my perspective, I gave Jake a solid 2 years to really figure this out and to be able to try to like get his groove going, be able to build some confidence, hopefully get steady and get on track, because I do think we understand he has a decent leg. He can kick the ball. That's not the problem. It's more just of the confidence and the mental element of it. But man, the preseason was pretty indicative of what the future probably was going to hold for 49ers kicker Jake Moody, or I should say former 49ers kicker Jake Moody. And, you know, he had the game winner after a really rough outing against the Raiders, and I think there was some hope that would have been the pivot. I mean, even I think Brant Boyer came out after that game and said, this is a defining moment in Jake Moody's career. Might have saved his career, might have saved his job with the 49ers after kicking that game winner against the Raiders. But immediately that next game came out in preseason and struggled. Struggled in that final preseason game, and then those struggles transferred into week 1. And yeah, man, it's a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions, a lot of now I think one of the next questions go to is who's the next kicker, who's filling in for Jake Moody. So I'm assuming here pretty soon we're going to be finding out who the replacement is. Something tells me that Greg Joseph has a strong opportunity to come in and replace Moody, because obviously he was in training camp, he was battling with Moody. I mean, they're definitely, being in training camp myself and watching these guys kick every day, it wasn't like there's some crazy wide gap. I think even if you tallied all of the kicks made in the competition portion of 49ers training camp practices, I think Greg Joseph actually made more kicks than Moody did. So I would have to assume that's going to be the next path forward for the San Francisco 49ers, is to bring Greg Joseph in, because they didn't even bother with signing him to the practice squad. They waived him. So that's an open roster spot, and the 49ers will likely plug that with a obvious kicker, and I would have to put my money on Greg Joseph to be the guy that fills that role. But boy, oh boy, what a shocker. Today on a Tuesday, San Francisco 49ers release kicker Jake Moody, drafted in the 3rd round. Kind of takes me back to the moment when the 49ers drafted him. I was live. We were doing a live show, live draft reaction. All I could do was holler, because I couldn't believe that the 49ers actually did it. I could believe, but I was kind of in shock that the 49ers took a kicker at the back of the 3rd round. And I tried my hardest to rationalize it, tried my best to sell myself on Jake Moody as the franchise kicker. I tried. I really did. I gave it my best effort to try to get behind the pick, but it's just such a challenge, when, you see some of the best kickers in the league were undrafted free agents, guys signed off UFL rosters. I was talking about it the other day. The 49ers have had fill-in kickers that they signed mid-season off the streets that have now been starting in the NFL for a couple years. Think of McLaughlin, whatever his last name is, Joey Sly. When Robbie Gould went down for a couple games, those guys are starting, man. Those guys have been in the league starting as kickers for other teams, and we pulled them right off the couch to kick for the 49ers. So it's always been one of the challenges, right? Obviously, if you can guarantee to get a super high-end kicker and you draft him, then of course, that's great. But it just feels like there's more often than not, drafting kickers seems to backfire. I mean, even in that same draft, the 49ers took Jake Moody, and then the very next kicker went in the 4th round, a couple picks later, to the Patriots, and that was Chad Ryland. Chad Ryland made it one season with the Patriots before he got cut. So the two highest drafted kickers in that particular draft class are on their original teams. I think Ryland might be on his third team. I think he went to Arizona. I'm not sure if he's still with AZ or not. But I know the 49ers tried really, really hard to keep Moody, and really turn this around. On one hand, I I give them some credit for trying to stick it out and really trying to build his confidence and trying to make it work. But at the end, you also have to commend them for just recognizing that this wasn't going to work and that this situation needed to be remedied. And so the San Francisco 49ers had to make an adjustment. Um, so yeah, I'm it's crazy, man. Crazy that that this went down. Crazy that um, the 49ers pulled this one off. But hey, they did it. They did it. They made the move, and they released.
Or if you need it.
The camera was so hot. The news was so hot that hit my phone with too hot. It was too hot, and so the phone that I was streaming on was like, nope, too hot. All this information, all this news, too hot to handle. So, but we're back, and yeah, so the 49ers did it. They released Jake Moody. If you're just joining, obviously you've seen the news by now. Um, just crazy, 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 crazy. Um, so I don't know. All right, let's reset. Let's ask the chat. I'm trying to think of a way that we could quickly determine this. Let's just do a grade, I guess. Let's do grade. Grades are easy. Grade this move by the San Francisco 49ers. Drop your letter grades in the chat. Um, I'm curious because I assume that most of the people will be pleased and give a high grade, but I mean, you never know. See, like right there, there's a C. There's a C grade. Um, I think someone said B only because it's in season. I think that's fair. I think that's fair for sure. Just because obviously you would have hoped that it wouldn't have gotten to the point where it lingered into the season. So yeah. I would not surprised by the initial grades by the chat. Um, everyone seems to be again, and even like the grades that I'm seeing that might be a little bit lower are just because the comments are saying it took too long. It took too long to get to this point. Um, so honestly, this has been a wild situation to cover. I've never been a part of this, covering the 49ers since 2017, where I've seen, a fan base just really just be so ready to move on from a player. And you know, on one hand, feel bad for the guy, feel bad for Moody, hopefully, the human element, hope he's able to rebound. Hopefully he can get a, clean start, land somewhere else. Who knows? Maybe in a couple years we'll be talking about Jake Moody as a good kicker. Maybe fresh start flushes some of these things out. I feel for the guy, but again, it's just it's the right decision for the 49ers. Um, it had to happen, and the 49ers got it done. They uh, they they did it. So quite an interesting week. This heading into week 2 has already been. We found out Brock Purdy got injured a little bit. We're still waiting on the severity of that. Just right now, Adam Schefter, as I'm right on cue, Adam, the 49ers have placed George Kittle on injured reserve. So he'll miss New Orleans, Atlanta, Jacksonville, and the Rams. So again, right on cue. It was literally just about to transition to talk about the other injuries, and Adam Schefter is reporting that George Kittle is now on injured reserve. So, man, um, I think that was kind of expected after Kyle Shanahan's press conference yesterday that, with the hamstring injury, it did sound like George Kittle was going to be an IR candidate, and that has officially been announced. So that's a tough one because George was slated to have a big season this year, and yeah, this is a tough one. So I hope George comes back and is healthy and is good to go. Just such a tough break for George, man. I really did believe he was going to have this best year of his career. Haven't heard anything else on any other players. Haven't heard anything about Purdy. But that, couple roster moves going down, and man, I was just what a wild week it has been. Um, with the injuries that have been announced now again, uh, George Kittle being placed on IR. We did hear about Juwan Jennings earlier, that he is good and his injury isn't expected to be serious. So George Kittle, unfortunately, on IR. Juwan Jennings is expected to return at some point. We don't really know the extent of if Juwan Jennings will be out for an extended period of time, but we did get good injury news on him. And right now, what we're waiting for is what's the status of Brock Purdy. Will Brock Purdy miss this upcoming game against the Saints? I think, seeing if the 49ers add another quarterback will be a potential sign of his availability. So if they sign another quarterback, to be on the practice squad, because right now, let's say if Brock can't go. You got Mac Jones and Adrian Martinez right now. So the 49ers have typically carried 3 quarterbacks on the roster. This year they opted for 2, which wasn't a surprise, but now they might have to figure it out. So potential roster moves to be made. Potential new quarterback to be added to the roster. Definitely need a new kicker. Do the 49ers sign a tight end, or do they elevate Braden Willis to the active roster? It'll be very, very fascinating to see. So, whoo! Wow, what a day. What a day that we got going for the San Francisco 49ers. Jake Moody has been waived. George Kittle was just placed on IR. Jawan Jennings, not expected to have a serious injury. So, boy, oh boy. Crazy, man. Crazy. So, we can expect Kittle to be on the shelf for at least 4 weeks. And then we'll see. We'll see what happens after that. But, dang. Still kind of in shock a little bit. Still kind of in shock. But, all right. That covers it. I'm going to get out of here for now, man. What a crazy, crazy situation. Appreciate everyone for tapping in. If you haven't, like this video, share this video, sub to the channel, follow on socials, do all that stuff. You know the vibes. Grab your cookies on the way out. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be grabbing cookies today. So, appreciate y'all. I'm out. Later. Hold on there.
Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see you.